Yo, when I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Stanton.
Hello. Welcome to another TouchlineGunners podcast. It's your boy, TouchlineGunners. Let me say, I keep TouchlineGunners podcast. Your boy Dankoogs on hosting duty again. I'm joined by my good friend, brother Seun, man. Offline, we were just sharing war stories, man, about having to be in bed by 9:30. All of this stuff, man. How are you doing, Seun?
Montoya, por favor! Bro, I'm cooked physically, mentally, spiritually, every aspect, bro. We were talking offline, like, bro, I don't have energy or bandwidth for anything right now. We were even just saying, like, offline, I've enjoyed this detox of the last week without Arsenal so much, bro. And then I'm seeing the news that's just dropping now, and I'm just hot again. I'm ready for another week of no Arsenal, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think Montoya, is how I feel right now, man. Like, my head is hot. Yeah, probably not as bad as him. I'm not gonna go running up my street, ripping off my shirt and whatnot. But inside, I'm internally boiling at this latest development. Sammy Muckbell dropping that Kai Havertz has had an injury scare. We don't know the extent of that, but I'm sure there'll be a pre-Leicester press conference with an early kickoff on Saturday.
Oh God!
So Leicester away. I'm praying that this team can't, shamble away to Leicester. But you never know. So we'll probably get the update on any Havertz injury on Friday, which is a lot of time to wait, from this earlier recording of TG. But yeah, man, where do we start? Sean, you're right. Like, no Arsenal. They're in Dubai, detoxing, having a celebrate. I feel like I'm detoxing as well from this Arsenal team, man. Like, what was the last game that we played? Newcastle in the cup, yeah.
Yeah, cooked.
My head was like, I know people like, oh, why are you so bothered? This, that, and the other, yeah. But I'm sorry, like, the way we actually went out of that competition just rattled me, because I feel like it was so similar to so many of the cup exits that we've had in recent times, where we've not been able to score after going the goal down. A team sort of sets up resolutely against us, and we don't really have the answer for them, to be honest. And yeah, I think for Eddie Howe to do the three-peat on us already, and there's a fourth game coming up without us being able to score a goal, it's left a very bad taste in my mouth, personally. So yeah, I didn't take that very well. And I think it's been nice having an Arsenal free few days, man. So Sean, tell me where your head's at, right? Because last pod, me and Khalil were just venting. Yeah, so someone else needs to come and share their thoughts as well.
Yeah, I feel like I've just generally been a bit tired. Like, I've been a bit tired of moaning about being tired. Do you get what I mean? Like, I think I've vented so many times this season about the same things, and I'm just tired of going around in circles. Everyone knows what our issues is, and that's why I even understand why you, man, lost it against Newcastle, because I'm like, how many times do they have to beat you the same way before you react and do something different? They've beaten us 3 times this season. We failed to score a goal against them. I'd say only the home game at the Emirates in the first leg was where we looked like scoring. But Eddie Howe has been beating up Arteta for a little bit of a minute now, and I just think the problems we've spoken about on here in the chat, twofold, both in terms of lack of threat from our finishers, but in also essence of the lack of good, consistent quality chances we create. I saw the Özil, there was an Özil clip that dropped on the TL this morning, from when he did that man of the match performance against Bournemouth, like, and he created like 9-10 chances in like one game, and like just good quality chances from all sorts of different angles. And it's just the look of, I'm a bit frustrated. I think we need more. I think we need more centrally. I think we need more offensively. But I've lost count of how many times I've said that on this pod. And until I think the manager tweaks it slightly, and until we recruit better, I'm going to be repeating the same thing. So I'm just a bit bored of being a bit bored. You get what I mean? So yeah, but it's like, like Montoya on Temptation Island, my man is still going back for more despite being flogged. And that's where we're going to be again on for the Saturday early kickoff. It's like, it is an abusive relationship we're in. So yeah, man, I'm finding it very hard to get excited, just because of what we spoke about, that catastrophic January window, and look at what's happened now. Windows closed, Martinelli's dropped, Havertz dropped, and I think I just tweeted before we came on, just saying they all have the same injury, obviously to varying different degrees, but I think it's not a surprise, in my opinion, that the three players that have really, really good injury records, are the ones that have gone down. I checked Havertz. Havertz never gets injured, like legit, like never gets injured. So when I just said, I was like, but I'm not surprised. I said, that Wolves game where obviously we went down to 10 men, we paid most of it. The staff legit had to carry that brother up after the game. And this is someone, I've openly admitted I'm not a big Havertz fan, but I will always salute the guy because of the body of work he gets through. But I know you, myself, and a couple others have expressed frustration about the level of work and the repeat sprints that we have our forwards doing. And it's not a surprise that these are muscle injuries that these guys have picked up, man. So and it's even more insane that we don't have anyone to replace them. And we have Saka out, Jesus ACL, Martinelli out, Havertz out. So legit, our options are Trossard, Sterling, and Ethan. That is it. We do not have anything else. So yeah, that's crazy to me. Crazy.
It's so insane that we're sort of left in this position. And like, I think there's an element of bad luck there, in the sense that all the injuries are happening at the same time. You'd like to think, oh yeah, if one person goes down, and some of the other players can come and pull their weight a little bit. But I think it almost happens like dominoes because of that we left ourselves kind of short. If you know what I mean, that when a player goes down, you then have fewer players covering, I think, what was the busiest period of our season this January. Literally a game every 3 days from the very start to the end. And then we see a couple of players who I think probably do the most work in the team, in terms of sprinting to cover the fullback, sprinting then again to get back forward and whatnot. So yeah, I think the manager is going to have to look at something here, because I personally don't think it's a coincidence. I know we're having a conversation in the group chat, people saying, oh, this is confirmation bias, not all injuries are down to minutes played, and I agree with that. Not all injuries are down to minutes played, but I think if you say you've got, because if you remember, we didn't actually have Maneri or Sterling at the start of January either. They were both out around the same time, as I think Saka went down. When Maneri came in the next game, he went down. I think Sterling went down in the same week as Saka as well. So we had that Christmas period without those three guys. We then had the start of January without those three guys. So when you're putting that many minutes into the likes of Trossard, Martinelli, Havertz over the course of the whole month, I don't think it's that surprising that they go down. And, if you look at some of the other players around the squad, I think Declan Rice has probably been rotated the most he's ever been this season so far, which I think is actually a good thing. But someone like Yuri Timber, who's playing this much football this regularly after the back of an ACL, I think it's basically a miracle that he's not gone down. And then someone like Thomas Partey, who has been, ever present basically this season, shocks me to say. Maybe that surgery that he had, contract year, and maybe that surgery he had actually worked, to fix the issue there. But again, he's someone who I think we're probably going to need to watch out for when it comes to the amount of minutes and the amount of sprints, etc., that he's making. But I would definitely say maybe in the way that he's playing as well, he's doing a lot more jogging, I think, in this team than we've seen him do previously. Maybe that's a factor as well. So, Sean, let's think about some solutions, I would say, to this, because we basically got three players. So that basically means Sterling left, Trossard 9,
Just 9 and
Ranieri
Ethan.
right.
And
Yeah.
I think we saw that against Sevilla away.
Hmm.
So that might be something we introduce again. You know, obviously I remember when Trossard first came, he had a lot of shifts at false nine, and I thought he was actually quite decent there as well. I always preferred him more in central areas. I know he can sometimes get beaten up because he's quite weak on the ball, but I prefer it, you know, out wide. I know he's just, unless it's a final action, I just know he's going to serve up a stinker. So I think I would rather it there. I think Sterling, even though I think he's cooked, he's also better from the left, and obviously Ethan's more of a natural fit at the right. So it's by enforcement. You know, I'm seeing man say that Marino can be a 9 in exceptional circumstances, which is nasty work. The way that the copium that people are dropping right now, but I don't know what else we can do. Like legit, you know, and it's mad because you know what I was thinking. Like over the last like few years, we had like a surplus of like academy strikers, right? You had Eddie, Balogun, Mikabirov, and even Chido Obi that's now just gone to United, right? All of these guys would be chopping minutes heavy if they were here right now, you know, heavy minutes. So yeah, like I said, I think to your point, I think it's slightly bad luck that it's happened all in similar positions, but I think it's not bad luck when you look at the accumulation of the amount of minutes that we played. And you know, this is we had the manager coming out every press conference, almost every press conference in Jan, saying we're short. So for me, there's no reason, no excuse. And I get if you don't want to collapse the future by committing to someone you're not sure on, but I think the same way we said, even if I'm not keen on certain individuals, there are certain individuals that moved on loan in this market that we could have picked up. Obviously, I don't think Rashford was possible because of we already reached the domestic loan limit. But you know, Kolo Muani, even I'm not a big fan of him. He's a body. Could have played on the left. Could have played through the middle. Matthias Tell could have played on the left. Could have played through the middle. You know, and obviously that's before we talk about like the big signings that move, like Marmoush, Kvaratskhelia. So it's disappointing that in a window where we saw a lot of movement, we were inactive. Because to me, it always just feels like there's a finite limit of players that Arteta wants, and outside of that, if it's not them, he's not interested. So yeah, it's disappointing, man. And to come back to your question about solutions, I really don't know. Unless you're telling me you're going to throw Mikel Merino up, you're going to use Tierney as an auxiliary left winger. I don't know, because I think, you know, we've been given some awesome academy talents in Miles and Ethan, but I'll be real, a lot of the others they're lagging behind. Obviously, I think if because of legislation, if Max was old enough, I think he'd probably get some minutes. And I'm not even joking. I think he'd get some minutes. They took him in Dubai for a reason. I think he'd play, but obviously, I think I saw someone say Ethan played when he was 15, but he was turning 16 in the same season. Whereas I don't think Max doesn't turn 16 until next season, which is crazy.
You need to be 15 from the
And
start of the
right,
season. Yeah. So
okay.
the fact he started at 14 means you can't play.
Yeah.
They've asked for special dispensation or something like that, which you know, I was thinking about it. Maybe they might get it right because certain players, because like if you do the maths, if your birthday's July, you can be 1 month, 1 month after your 15th birthday, you can play.
Yeah.
Someone who, you know, is like Max, he's just turned 15. He, you know, might have to wait 6 months until he's
his
able to play. So
like he legit only turned 15 on the 31st of December. So
yeah, there you go. So we'll see, man. I'm not putting many hopes on a 15-year-old. Let's be guided, you know. So yeah, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We'll need to see the extent of that injury. We'll need to see the extent of Martinelli's injury. Next 2 games are Leicester away, West Ham at home. So you'd like to think that we've got enough to get through those games with that front three. You know, Wout Face and Vestergaard might be the worst centre-back partnership I've probably ever seen in the Premier League. So if we can't put their man under duress, then yeah, we're cooked. You know, we're seriously cooked.
And I know Nicholas Yova working on some new plays, boy. After the Super Bowl, boy, you're gonna bring us some new set pieces. That's all we're banking on, bro. Trust me, they're gonna go overtime on the set pieces, man. But yeah, I would, some of what I'd like to see, the manager hasn't shown an inclination of trying to give us more through some of the central areas. So yeah, man, I'd like to see a bit more freedom. I've always said for the attackers, personally. And obviously the recruitment side we can't do until the summer now. So, but yeah, it's disappointing, man. It's very, very disappointing. I'd love to give you more options, Cougs, but we're cooked. Like, I legit think we're at that stage of being cooked. We have more forwards injured than we have available, or is it even?
Yeah,
Okay, mate.
I'm fully burning, Sean. I'm fully burning. You know, like I'm just like what were the conversations? Yeah, what were the conversations in the boardroom when it was like, should we get this guy on loan? Should we not? Because we had the chat in the WhatsApp, and I was like, you know what? When I see the Morata name, I was like, you know what? I would have taken Morata because
Yeah, I would
have taken Morata. And this this is the thing. Like, I'm so pissed off that this exact same situation we're in summer, where it's like, I don't want Sterling, I don't want Rashford, I don't want any of these men. But when it came to deadline day, I was like, just bring Sterling.
You have to rationalize it, boy. Yeah, you have to.
Just bring Sterling, and I'm just like, why are we talking about Morata on loan, bro? Why are we doing that? But fundamentally, I would have taken him because, say for instance, you could see Havertz right after the game. What was it? It was before the Newcastle game.
Yeah, the
Wolves game. You're seeing him. We're down to 10 men. This guy's sprinting his heart off. This, that, and the other. You're seeing him getting, carried off the pitch. Right. If you bring a Morata in, just sit Havertz down, bro. Because I could tell you, for one, he was not going to play well against Newcastle. After you're having to physically drag man off the floor, he's not going to perform 3 days later, bro. Like, it's impossible. If he's we're literally seeing that he's at his physical limit. So, even if it's just to find Morata might not have the quality to win us a match. He might not have the quality to get us through, but Sean, we lost that match anyways. We lost that match with a whimper, not really putting their goal under any stress. So, if you're going to be throwing games because your guys are not at their physical capability, you might as well rest them so that the next game they play, they can be at their physical best. Do you get what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm very disappointed. I know Tell, unproven, he might need time, this, that, and the other. But, yeah, man, I just think us not bringing a body in was a really, really big blunder. It's a really big blunder.
I don't think there's any excuse for it, and I'm not really trying to hear any rationalizations on it. Like I said, the only one I would hear was that I'd understand if you don't want to commit to someone in Jan. Cool, I can understand that if you can't get a main target, but there are loan options available that you could have done. If you really wanted to, you could have pushed the boat out for a couple of loan signings to support. So, yeah, man. And because the worst thing I don't want to imagine now is that these men rush Saka back and he's not fully completed his rehab and he's at risk of re-injuring. As the good doctor says, if he's not fully recovered from that hamstring surgery. I mean, we've all seen the scar, right? So, bruv, they massacred my boy.
Yes. It's fully peak, man. It's fully peak. There is another topic that came up today that I do want to touch on briefly. On the overlap, right?
Yeah.
Sean, so have you seen these clips?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't even say I'm surprised anymore. I feel like we've touched on this topic time after time after time after time after time, right? Where it's like these young black boys are. It's almost like media wants to, or has this desire to really kind of badmouth them or create an image where they're almost why is this lad too big for his boots? We need to put him in, put them in their place, kind of thing. Yeah, I can't believe that. Almost, what was it? When did we play Man City? Was that almost 10 days later? Yeah. Almost 10 days. 10 days later, they're still talking about a celebration man done, which, by all intents and purposes, man gave him some chat. I bagged the goal. I'm going to give you some chat back. I'm going to do your celebration, man. Let's keep it stepping. That's what football banter is all about. You know,
100.
we've seen it before. We're gonna see it again. You're getting the Premier League put out statements, are overzealous mocking celebrations and all of this. We're going to be looking at like, piss off. Seriously, just piss off. Yeah. And Jamie Carragher and Paul Scholes coming out and doing all this rubbish. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. I know people, they might want to be obtuse about it and say, oh, it's because of Arsenal, but we all know it's a race thing. I'm sorry. We all know it's a race thing. The only black players who don't get this chat are the guys who they see as, you know, these humble N'Golo Kante, are they everyone's mate kind of thing. If you show any bit of bite, if you show any bit of personality, they want to clamp all that down. You know, I'm getting Graham Souness a week after the fact writing articles about Miles Lewis-Skelly, you know, like, let's not take the piss here. Seriously, let's not take the piss here. And I think we need to really call out Sky Sports, Daily Mail, TalkSport, and all of these platforms for perpetuating this stuff, because I think as, you know, listeners, viewers, whatever, you know, we're sick of this shit, man. It's enough.
And I know there are people saying that, like, we should ignore it, we should put it to one side, but we can't, because if we allow them to continue to do that, they will continue to perpetuate those narratives, and those narratives then become mainstream. So I think you've always got to fight back. I've always said I think the easiest thing would be to have more Arsenal representation in the media. I do feel like there's an inherent bias towards the north, like you know, I think the economy generally revolves around the south in London, right? But when it comes to football, I feel like the mecca of football in the UK is seen as like the northwest. Like the northwest seem to control everything. From the fact there's no referees, right, that are from the south in the Prem. I think they said that. Well, for starters, 10 of the 20 clubs in the league are from the south. So over half the league is from the south, but there's no representation from there. I've always thought Man United and Liverpool dominate the media. They dominate the headspace. You always see it with the people there. It's almost become like the overlap has become like Man United and Liverpool TV in itself as well. So I used to like that at the start, but and I thought someone made a good point. You know, when Carragher and Neville first came, I thought they were like a bit of fresh air. So people did appreciate their sort of analysis. But I think over time, they've become more into sort of the clickbaity, saying stuff for reactions as well. So it's very, very frustrating. Like what Carragher said today, where he was saying, "Oh yeah, Arteta's keeping them in another changing room to tell them to keep them in their place." When Arteta legit said himself in a press conference, Miles is 18, so he's now with the first team, but Ethan cannot be with the first team until he turns 18 because of safeguarding reasons. Simple Google or simple bit of research from the Sky producers could have let him know that, but he's run with a narrative, and obviously good, he's been called out left, right and center for it, so he's looking like a dickhead. And then the second one that was around, what's it, Isak, where he's saying, oh yeah, they need to be going bigger and better. You know, I always find that interesting, because they're saying Arsenal, they're criticizing Arsenal for not winning, but Arsenal now trying to be better, targeting players to help them improve, to bring them closer to the goal. They're saying, oh no, he shouldn't go there. I just think he's a weasel, because like I've always said, I always find there's an undertone to the way Carragher talks about Arsenal, right? Because when he sat next to Henry, he ain't saying niche. His mouth is closed. His mouth is closed because he knows he gets put in his place. So yeah, I just think he's a proper dimwit. And Scholes, listen, ain't nobody listening to someone who's biting his daughter's toenails wronging, man. So yeah, you can go and sit down.
Bro, Paul Scholes talks like
too much, yeah.
You know, like he's missing brain cells, to be honest. Like the speed with which the lack of speed, I would say, that with which he gets his sentences out, man, just pisses me off. I can't listen to him, to be honest. So yeah, I think it just needs to be called out, man. They need to stop this stuff. We see through them as well. And for me, I think Sky Sports it's hilarious, right? I think they're actually quite scared of new media, is what is my interpretation of it, right? Because I think at first you saw these platforms basically call out new media quite a bit, right? They, you know, criticize AFTV, criticize fan channels. And then you see them now actually saying, well, actually, these guys are really popular. we'll invite them, we'll utilize them on our platform, because that's where people are actually spending their time. People like listening to voices that are similar minded to them. They support their own teams. They don't want to hear biased commentaries. So much so that they're even doing watch-alongs now on Sky Sports, copying the fan format, this, that, and the other. And it's like, the reason people tune into watch-alongs as well, as far as I'm concerned, is because they want to hear a fan's perspective of the match. They don't want to hear Gary Neville doing his weird moans and coming up with weird narratives about the game. You want to listen to someone who is knowledgeable about your club, cares about your club in the same way that you do, which is why fan channels are so popular. And I think Sky Sports, they're sort of, almost leaning into some of this clickbaity stuff to try and win back some of that market share. And I think it's really obvious, and it just doesn't come across as genuine, right? Because for me, Jamie Carragher, you gave us your genuine thoughts in the studio during the match. You weren't critical of Lewis Skelly. You were talking about him and comparing him to Wayne Rooney and all of this stuff. I know who was sat next to you in Thierry Henry, so maybe that informed your opinion. But those are your thoughts live. So what's happened between you watching that incident live and now all of a sudden you've got a big problem with it, so much so that you're calling it out on 2 different shows, this, that, and the other? So yeah, I think he's been a bit of a weasel for that, to be honest. I don't think he's being genuine about his thoughts there as well. And I think they need to. I think they need to really do better, because that type of content is not what anyone wants to be watching and hearing or tuning into, to be honest.
Also big, like, I'm not even a fan of like his content usually, but like Adam McCullough, who was like basically like he actually did call them out. He said basically, what's the difference between what Miles Lewis Skelly did and what Neil Maupay did, when he impersonated Maddison. Neil Maupay impersonates everyone, do you know what I mean? But no one's calling him, telling him to wind his neck in. Vardy is legit known for his shithousery, and he gets praised for it all the flipping time, do you know what I mean? And Rooney's made his career off like fighting people, being praised for his bravery, personality. But a young black footballer, crickets, very interesting word. But like we said, not surprised, but it's more about fighting back and bringing awareness to it. I don't think you can keep quiet on it, because I don't think that solves anything at all.
Fair. So yeah, we do have a bunch of listeners' questions in that we can address for the second half of this pod, right? So Concluso, he asked, with Martinelli and Havertz injured, what non-attackers can you see Arteta playing in our forward line?
Tierney, God, might as well try Marino. It's not like he's useful in midfield, so let's see if you can repurpose him. Let's see if he can win some draws up top, because it's not like he was winning enough of them in midfield. So yeah, I'd say Tierney, Marino. I don't think he's going to use any other youngsters personally. So yeah, I think that's it, bro. I think that's it. And it's not like we don't have a recall clause on someone like Reece Nelson, do we? Is that for the season?
No, we've missed the window. Yeah, missed the window for that. And Nelson's injured as well, so he'd fit right in. I think, yeah, Tierney's the only one I can see really. Maybe you might get. What did he do? I think he did there was one game I can't remember where he did like a Tierney and Zinchenko left side type thing as well, right? Yeah, I'm not sure. So yeah, imagine we do Calafiori left back, Miles left mid, Tierney left wing. That could be interesting to see.
Yeah,
would definitely be interesting.
Yeah, because I was even thinking about a change of shape potentially, but what would we even change to? Legit, what would we even change to? I was saying wing backs, but the only real wing back we have is potentially Tierney. I don't really know what we do elsewhere. Like, I don't class Timber or White as wing backs. Bro, I have no idea. Like, I legit have no idea. The way the squad's been constructed, I think we're sort of pigeonholed or boxed into what we can do. Like I said, unless like we can't recall. I think obviously there was a window, and I think where we could have recalled Vieira as well, but we chose not to. Not that I think he'd had much anyway, personally. Bro, we ain't got nothing else, bro. Like legit, we don't have anything else. My head is cooked. The midfield, we've got 2 on-calls. The midfielders, yeah, we're cooked. We're cooked, bro. Nothing left.
Yeah,
legit nothing left.
Nasty stuff. Nasty stuff. She says, yeah. So I think a lot of the questions. So Sam E91, he says, with the news that Havertz might be joining the injury list, what options do we have for the front three? Big Kala at 9. Yeah. Rackmatic says might have to play Kala up top as well. So yeah, we're gonna have to.
He strikes the ball better than a lot of the other man,
Yeah,
boy.
Bro. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So Count Drexler, he says, who is currently the most reliable squad player? Additionally, who do you think was our best ever squad player? Interesting. So first question, who do you think is the most reliable squad player?
Currently, probably Trossard. Even though I'm not a big fan, I'd probably say Trossard. He's good for a goal off the bench. Plays most of the time. Versatile, so you can use him in different positions, even though performances may vary in those positions. But he's useful. Can play a lot. So I'd say Odegaard. Who else do we have that classifies as a squad player, right? That the manager trusts. Maybe Jorginho. Jorginho is useful. Obviously, you can only really play one position, but he's reliable more often than not. We know his weaknesses, but if we can get him protected, his strengths can be a big help, a big hindrance. You know, if Tomiyasu was reliable, that would have been a great squad option. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, by default, I'm probably going to give it to Trossard.
Mm-hmm.
And historically, I loved Ray Parlour. Was always one of my favorite Arsenal players growing up. He was never like a starter. He was always in and out of the team, but he could play centre mid, right wing. He was coming and doing job, contribute goals at key times. I always sort of described him as like the original sort of Gerrard or Lampard, because he was always good for popping up with goals from outside the box as well. So I'd have him down there. Who else was an interesting squad player? Maybe I did like Rosicky, obviously, but he was far too injury prone. But he was good when he was available. He was a good player. He could very much play.
I think Wiltord.
Wiltord is a good option. Yeah, Wiltord is a very good option.
Wiltord and Kanu, I used to.
Yes, Kanu as well. Yeah. How could I forget?
They were really good players.
Yeah. And obviously that was the era of obviously 2 strikers, so you would normally have 2 strikers on the bench as well. So Wiltord and Kanu were always obviously backups for Henry and Bergkamp, but that was good because you could use them to rest the other 2 when necessary. Yeah, good shouts. Yeah. Actually, maybe I'll give it to, and obviously Wiltord as a squad player. I remember because look, when we won the double in 2002 to seal the title, we started Wiltord and Kanu at Old Trafford. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
they've done the business, man.
They've done the business. Do you get?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I have them both joined together. And we had some good squad options.
We did have some good squad options because even like Edu and stuff, would come in
Edu
and contribute
squad
as
option.
well.
Yeah. 100. Very good squad option.
Yeah. I like that question. I like that question. Yeah, most reliable squad player at the moment. Yeah, boy. I don't know. All I know is knock that Tomiyasu, brother. Yeah, I'll tell you that for free. Yeah.
Trust me.
I'll tell you that for free.
Trossard by default. Yeah. Maybe does Ben White become a squad option now? Is he a squad player or is he? I don't know. Yeah,
we'll have to see because I still think he's very, very good player and will definitely have a role to play.
Absolutely.
I think maybe big games you might need Timber, but in some of these games we're going to be more dominant, have the ball.
I think Ben White's overlaps. His overlaps,
a lot to offer the team, man. A lot to offer the team. So I think that one will be game and situational. And also, he's a really good centre back. still
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So,
Keep forgetting. And also, we forget
yeah.
he might even have one of the best passing ranges out of our centre backs. You remember the pass he played for Saka against Liverpool as well, like the backspin he put on that, put him straight through. You know that's when you just think about, because sometimes I think, and we've said it before, like we have to work so hard to score, but legit we just had a long diagonal, like straight over the top, through on goal. Like, would love that more. Do you know?
100%. That clip pass, man. No one else really
No one
plays it,
else
and
really
he's
does
got
it.
really good switches of the ball as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
man. Really good switches of the ball.
Yeah,
So next question from Januga95 again. Who is next to do bleep test appearances after Mikel's overused Havertz if the reports are true? Secondly, as desperate times call for desperate measures, false nine Odegaard, no chance.
No chance. That's
No
the
chance.
last person I'm putting. Like I would
Yeah,
rather see
against
I think,
centre backs, you know, they'll eat him up.
like one thing, you know, it'd be interesting to see if this Trossard, Ethan and Sterling gets a couple games, because they can all rotate. You know, they all might have stints at false nine during the game as well. So I could potentially see it having some decent effect. You know, even I didn't think Sterling was great against Sevilla. I think he had more quote unquote moments in that game. So listen, my guy, I don't know what your plan is for your future, if you're planning to stay in London, but listen, if ever there was a time where you needed to perform, my guy, now's the time to rise it, bro. Stay fit and rise it, and get some goals, bro. Get some bloody goals. Even try to give you sympathy penalty against Sevilla, bro. I knew you weren't scoring.
What a joke, man. Oh,
That
Sean,
brother,
why have you
bro.
reminded me of that, man?
Yeah,
My
yeah,
head is
bro.
kettled again.
That brother. Yeah, and
The thing is as well, Sean, when he stepped up, I think we
I
all said,
knew, yeah, bro.
we all said Sterling is shit at pens, you know, like
Bro.
he's proper bad at them, and he's always stealing the ball from one of his teammates
I don't know
just
why
to
he's doing
miss.
that, bro. I don't know why he's doing that. I think Lewis posted like his career record is like 4 out of 10. Like, it's dreadful, bro. The guy
Jesus
is
Christ,
not
that's
like
half. That's half the
less than
average,
half, bro.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Nasty work.
Yeah, don't let him near one in the future. So
Nasty work. So yeah, Tondre1, he says, why was Jamie Carragher comparing Miles Lewis Skelly to Rooney in the presence of Henry and Micah, but told him to know his place in the presence of Neville and Scholze?
oh, we know why.
Hashtag
Oh, we know why.
underbelly.
Where's insert Sol Campbell meme, or insert what's that, the Sarah the Gounet like when it comes to Arsenal, everyone just becomes stupid on purpose. I really like that phrase. So yeah. So
yeah. Hashtag underbelly, man. Underbelly is real. I also think though that Carragher guy, you know, he's a weasel. He's a proper weasel. I'm sorry for that. He's actually a proper weasel. He's a dirty macker. You know what I'm saying? That's the personality trait of a dirty macker. A guy that will be, you know, happy clappy, chummy with you to your face, and then when the babes are about, he's like, you know what? You know, Sean, you must have said this thing, you know, that time, trying to make himself look better, you know, in front of the girls. That's exactly what he's done there, man.
Trust me.
Nasty guy.
Bad mouthing you to the babes, bro.
Nasty guy, man. Nasty guy.
Well, I mean, anyone that's spitting on young people, right? Wouldn't expect anything better. So you get me? You're spitting it, bro. Let's not forget this brother spat on a 14-year-old girl, bro. And everyone, you know, so for him trying to take the moral high ground, being the beacon of morality, is hilarious, man. Yeah, bro. He's bro. This was a brother that supported Everton. He's got an Everton tattoo, but he's claiming Liverpool, bro. So what can we do, man?
Yeah, what can we do, man? What can we do? So Baitface Nate, he says, with the transfer window closed and seeing how we continue to show interest, monitor, and ask the conditions. Yeah. Has this changed your opinion on Edu in relation to the recruitment at Arsenal?
Bro, this question is so difficult. I have no idea where to lay the blame, yeah. And I think I've just got because of that, I've just got to attribute it to all. I think there's there's a bit of prudence. There's a lack of aggressiveness. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh because we've had previous windows where we have been aggressive and we've wanted who we've wanted and we've got out. But I think what's frustrating for me is, just thinking back to the summer, is being so close, finishing 2 points off the top, and then having the summer we did was crazy, because now we've taken a step back and we're going to need to do even more work this summer. So you've just given yourself more and more work to do. So I don't know if it's, I think, they talk about when they want to get a signing done, it's got to be approved by got to go through Tim Lewis, be approved by the Kroenke. So maybe we do have too long of a process. Maybe we take too long to deviate to other targets. Maybe Arteta needs to widen his pool of selection available. Obviously, I'm only going by reporting, but based on reports, it's either this guy, or nobody. Do you get what I mean? So, and I struggle to believe that it's just this guy, and nobody else that can improve Arsenal. Do you get what I mean? So, yeah, I struggle with that. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's quite difficult because obviously we don't know the ins and outs right at the club. So, it's a bit, it's neither here nor there. So for me, I think it looks like Edu was quite good at, maybe trying to pivot sometimes. In getting a Trossard in when we couldn't get Mudryk, or getting a Jorginho, that kind of thing. I think being able to close the Sterling deal, this, that, and the other, when it looks like we couldn't get our forwards in. But I don't know the details. Personally, I don't know the details. From what has been said, whether you want to believe ITKs, you want to believe your Gunner blogs and whatnot, the bread is there. The bread has always been there to spend. If Sesko wanted to come in the summer, he'd been an Arsenal player. Nico Williams wanted to come in the summer, he'd be an Arsenal player. If either of them, I think, wanted to come in January, they'd probably be Arsenal players as well. But so it looks like, they just didn't want to come. And I think, unfortunately, we find ourselves in a situation where maybe the club's saying, look, we're not at the same place in the project as we were a few years ago, when it's okay for us to pivot to a Trossard. It's okay for us to pivot to a Jorginho, but I don't want to add too many more of these sort of pivot guys because we are so close. And if we get, the striker signing, we go and spend 85 million on a Watkins, on a Gyökeres, on a Victor Osimhen, and they're not really quite that right fit for what we want to do, then, we're in a, tough position, which I can understand and agree with. But, fundamentally, I just don't think there is one player that is perfect. In world football. I know we sacked a lot of the scouts in COVID, but we clearly have ways of identifying players. We clearly have ways of monitoring people in the market. So, I think I'm quite disappointed in, sort of how the last two windows have gone, because it just feels so unnecessary. It feels so unnecessary. And I feel like if you're talking about, all right, now next summer, Semenyo is on the list. Why was he not on the list last summer? It's not like, fair enough, mid-season, a lot of these guys aren't going to move, but Semenyo hasn't changed that much. He's not improved in the last 6 months. For now that you're saying, oh yeah, he's gonna be the answer to our questions. Brian Mbeumo, who they said, Arsenal are very interested in him for the summer. We've seen him for the past 2-3 seasons in this league, in this division. So, what have you seen now that means that this guy is someone that you're now willing to sign? You weren't 12 months ago.
And I think I always struggle with don't get me wrong, I'm not saying buying from the Prem is bad, but I think, there's always going to be a heavy premium buying from within the league to get certain people out of their clubs, because they're not going to want to sell to direct division rivals, especially if they're trying to compete with you directly as well. So I'm just like, this is why I say, surely there's got to be more scouts at the club, bro, because I struggle to believe we have this issue with identification. I think it's more the manager is so specific in terms of his needs and wants. If this Zubimendi thing, for example, is true, and it happens in the summer, obviously we're going back to someone we wanted. They're talking about that Garcia goalkeeper as someone we wanted. So Arteta doesn't seem to deviate too much from what he wants. Like I said, it looks like we're going to go. I reckon we'll go back for Nico Williams in the summer again, which is annoying to me, but acting like he's the only winger in the world. But yeah, they just need to get it done, bro. They need to get it done because the harsh reality is, look at where we're at now, right? I didn't want to talk about it, but we might as well talk about Saliba. Those Real Madrid links have started, and fundamentally, people don't want to hear it. But if we're not winning, people are not going to stay. They're not going to hang around. That's just the reality of where we are, bro. We saw what happened with Fabregas. We saw what happened with Van Persie. We saw what happened with Nasri. If you've got a good team and that good team is not supported enough to reach the high level, like we know that between like 2008 2011, that team was always maybe two players, like maybe another DM and a centre back short of winning everything, but we never pushed the boat out. So this is and at least you could have a bit more sympathy by then, because we had just entered the Emirates. There was a lot more financial constraints. Right now you don't even you don't have that excuse. You don't have that excuse. We're in the Champions League. We're going to be in the Champions League against next year. We're posting record revenues. We don't have issues with PSR because we've sold loads of young homegrown talent. And we have loads of money sitting in the coffers. So yeah, bro, I think if they do not do what they're supposed to do this summer, the eyes will be basically squarely back on the Cronkies, because fundamentally, I get the issues with Arteta, and I have my own issues with Arteta as well. But as has been said, like, this is your guy. You gave this guy a new deal, like legit 3, 4, 5 months ago. So there's nothing that's changed from then till now. So if that's your guy, you have to back him. Yes, he's wasted money. Yes, there's certain signings that could have been better, but fundamentally, every manager, every club makes duds. You can excuse that, but you've got to go again, and you've got to back him to go again. Otherwise, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mad one, man. It's a mad one, and it's, yeah. I'm gonna wait and see what the summer looks like before I go mad. But some of the names that they're seeing are, this big summer that we've been, gearing up for, and I'm seeing Sesko, Naipan, Zubimendi, and defenders, this, that, and the other. Yeah, I'm not moved by that, Sean. I'm really not moved,
bro.
It's a it's a funny one, right? So last couple of questions here as well. There's not been a game this week, guys, so not as much Arsenal news. We can't just vent for another hour.
Even me, well. I'm tired of venting, bro. I'm legit tired of venting, bro. Man, they've drained. Oh, that sounds crazy. They've taken all the energy out of me, bro.
Yo.
Yeah. That is wild. That is very, very wild. I'm sorry. Apologies.
Yeah. Let's keep it respectful.
Keep it PG. I'm sorry. I'm tired, man. I'm tired of complaining. So there's only so much you can vent and complain before you're just like, when these people are serious, they'll act serious. Like, their actions are telling me they're not serious. So I can't spend time getting frustrated. Let me go fling on some more Temptation Island and watch my guy Montoya get his lick back. That's Montoya, all I can do, bro.
Montoya, man. We all stand with Montoya, man. So last couple of questions says, and on that theme about serious and unseriousness. So Asir Lee, he says the Saka injury happened December 21st. Jesus injury January 12th. No attacking signings. How unserious is this football club? And Mr. H. Montoya, he says, with Havertz supposedly injured now, is it time to say GGs and focus on next season?
Yeah. Just put the top 4 in the bag, and let's start getting signings done for next season, bro. Like, I'll be real. I don't have the heart in it to do anything else, bro. To do it, and it's upsetting because I've always said I think Liverpool will drop points, and I'm sure over their next run they will drop points. But my I think I crashed out in October. Like, I think I was the first one to crash out, if you remember, back in the chat, and I was like, I think the season's done already. And it's not that it wasn't done mathematically, but I just think the volume of work you're giving yourself to do going forward, like, we already know what we did last season, right? Where we had almost perfect second half of the season, and it still wasn't enough to win the title because we had lost 4 games in the first half of the season. I think, we've still only lost 2, but we've drawn like 7, 8 games. That's why we're so far off the pace. So
nasty work.
And again, some of the issues we're speaking about now, Cougs, we were talking about last season. So when man is saying we're unserious, who am I to argue, bro? Because some of these issues are still not being addressed. We're talking about lack of ruthlessness offensively. we were talking about that in Bayern. Man are producing articles in the Athletic saying they feel the team lacks X factor, but we didn't do anything to address the X factor. So we're unserious. You're not going to catch me here arguing with it. So until they address it, it's fundamentally where we are, man. So yeah, I have no hope. I think like what I will say is that I think Arsenal are strong enough that we have a high enough floor. I don't think our floor will drop because of the stability that we have defensively generally, but we're never gonna push through the ceiling because we don't have enough difference makers in attack and we don't do enough to cause damage in the final third. Cue horseshoe meme. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, it is what it is, man. So until we find solutions to those two quandaries that often sit in front of us, it's the same answer, unfortunately. I know it's not what people want to hear. It doesn't even make for good content, but I can't magic stuff out of thin air, bro. The manager has to find solutions and we need to recruit better. Those are legit the two answers I could give to you every single pod.
Yep. We are where we are, man. Yeah, just have to support the team. I think, yeah, these players, man, they're gonna keep trying, but yeah, we might just have to say GG's, call it quits, man. I'm sorry, like I'm gonna be there until mathematically it's not possible, but yeah, it's looking peak. It's looking very peak. So guys, Seun, thanks for joining me. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you after the Leicester match, and hopefully it's another +3. We keep it moving, man. Peace.
Later.
Yo, when I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Santan.